My name is Ann Novak. I am the head of the Career Center at the East Baton Rouge Parish Library. And today we will talk about job search scams, how to recognize and how to avoid them. So many of you are looking online for new jobs right now, and there are lots of job listings out there, but with those job listings online, you will find those scams that come at you. So today I want to teach you or show you some of the more common scams out there and much more importantly, how to avoid them. So let's get started. The Better Business Bureau last year did a survey about the riskiest scams in 2018. And as you can see on this slide, employment-related scams had actually grown the most at 9%. And now that more and more things are going online, I'm sure that number has not decreased, just the opposite. First things first, when you look for a job, what is the first thing you need? You're right, you need a resume. I'm good at stuff, right? And just with wanting to do your resume, this is the first opening that scammers have to get at you. How can you get around that? If you need help creating a good resume, it's easy. You come to us. Go to our website, www.careercenterbr.com. We have resume templates on our website. We have 2 certified resume writers on staff. I'm one of them, so we can help you. Our resume templates are designed in a way that they are current and that they're designed to go through the applicant tracking system or ATS. Come and see us in the Career Center in person if you want. We will help you do your resume. You can use Microsoft Word or Google Doc templates. They're well designed as well. They're free, no scam there. You can hire a certified resume writer, but be warned, the good ones will cost you. You do get what you paid for. There are actually very many scams out there. Well, not really scams, but a number of bad resume writers that charge you good money. We have seen a lot of those where people have actually come to us to say, I paid for this. This isn't working. Well, we could tell why. However, whatever you decide to do not Google free resume help. Why not, you might say? It's the intuitive thing to do, right? You Google free resume help. Let me show you why. While this is not a scam, let's call it false advertising, shall we? Some sites where free isn't necessarily free. This is just a selection of the sites that come up on the first site if you Google free resume help. So all of these do let you create a resume for free. So that was correct. But then you would like to save it, or you would like to print it, or you would like to upload it to a job posting. And that's usually where the buck stops. So some of those websites will start charging you then. They will charge you to save it, or they will charge you to print it. Or some of them will ask you to subscribe. They will say, oh, the subscription is free for 14 days. You can cancel at any time, but in order to subscribe, you already have to give them your credit card info. And if you are like so many of us, you conveniently forget to cancel within the 14 days, and then you are charged a monthly subscription fee. So while these are not scams in the truest sense of the word, you do have to watch out because you might end up paying for them. Now, it all starts with job boards, right? When you look for a job online, that's where you turn to. Before we actually start talking about the job boards, I have to plug this information in here, as I do in all of our presentations. If job boards is the only job search method you use, you will not be very effective. Job boards, you should use it. You should use every job search method that's out there, but it's just not the most efficient one. The best way to find a job is through networking, through talking to people you know, building your network, and doing informational interviews. Having said that, now let's look at those job boards, since most of us use them in some way. How to use them? You have to be careful which online job board you use. There are dozens and dozens and dozens out there. Some are more reputable than others. Some are small, some are big, some are niche for certain industries only, and some are wide. Some of the most well-known are Indeed.com, ZipRecruiter.com, Glassdoor.com, and those are just a few. There are some good ones. So really pay attention to which ones you want to use. The way to use job boards. Use them to find jobs. Use them to get an idea of what's out there. Once you find a job that you like, that's a good fit for you, stop right there. Now you go to that employer's website and double check, is that job listed on that employer's website? If you have the choice, you always apply on the employer's website directly. That does two things. For once, you know it's legitimate. It's on that employer's website. It also does something else. It shows that you're interested in this job. It shows the employer. The employer can see how your application was submitted. They can see if it came through a third-party job board or directly from their website. They will rank the applications that come through their sites higher because it just shows an interest. Versus you looking at a job board, that means, yeah, they're interested in a job. You looking directly at their site, it means, oh, they're interested in our job. It even goes so far that some companies will measure the time you spent on their website, and the longer time you spend on their website, the more tabs you open, the higher they rate your interest in the job. Now this is important, and I know this is grammatically wrong, but I just needed to stick the other negative in there. Do not, never, ever publicly post your resume to a job board. Wait, what? That's what a job board is there for, right? Let me show you what I mean. This is a cutout of Indeed.com, and this is the profile of John Quincy Public, our esteemed client that we made up, and this is his account. So we uploaded his resume, as you can see, and then here on the right side, you see resume privacy settings. Public or private? You want to choose private. What that means is that employers cannot find you on those job boards. What? Does that make sense? Yes, I will explain to you why. You will only use that uploaded resume to actively apply to jobs. You will attach it to jobs you apply for. But employers that search through Indeed cannot find your resume. If you choose public, they can. What happens if you choose public? I can tell you. You will get a lot of emails. You will get a lot of text messages. And I can also tell you who they come from. They will come from Aflac. They will come from New York Life. Those are perfectly legitimate companies. But the only job they will offer you is commission-only sales. So that means if you don't sell, you don't make any money. The other emails and text messages you get are from for-profit universities, University of Phoenix, Capella, Walden, and so on. Again, these are legitimate universities. However, they are expensive. And they have trained salespeople. They're very good at what they do. And they will try to convince you that getting the next bachelor's degree or the next master's degree or PhD will really, really further your career and that that's what you need. It usually doesn't. It's usually not what you need. But if you set your resume to public on these job boards, that's what ends up happening. So please do not do it. Use the job boards, upload your resume, but do it only in the private setting. Now, next step, you always want to research the company. Use review of ABC Construction Baton Rouge, and you will see what people say about the company. Even better, Glassdoor.com. If you have never heard about Glassdoor.com, do yourself a favor and go to the website. You will find hundreds and hundreds of company reviews. The larger the company, the larger and the more well-known the company, the more reviews you will have on there. Smaller local companies, not so much. In addition to reviews, you will find information on salaries, and you will find information on interview questions that these companies ask. So both websites are your very good friend in your job search. And then if it sounds too good to be true, right? It is too good to be true. Same in job search. Use your common sense. If it sounds too good to be true, it is. For example, if you find an ad in the Baton Rouge area, part-time receptionist, parent-friendly hours between 9 a.m. and 2 p.m., $35 an hour. That job does not exist. It sounds too good to be true because it is. If you see something like that, it's a scam. It just does not exist. Other scam indicators. Job ad is in all caps. Yes, they're out there. It's unprofessional. Therefore, an indicator for a scam. Bad grammar. A lot of the scammers are not located in the US. They sit in other parts of the world and do it from there, and so English is not their first language. Thus, you find job ads with sometimes funny, but in general just horrible grammar. If you see that, go run for the hills. It will not be real. Or another one, the job is offered immediately, without an interview, without much interaction. Who would do that? Again, you run. It will not be legitimate. Or there's just not much information about the company. All it says is, we're looking for a receptionist for these hours, for this money. We're located in Baton Rouge. Okay? This doesn't tell you anything. Again, this is just unprofessional, and a good company would not put out a job ad like that. Stay vigilant. Let's look at some other red flags. You have to pay attention to a recruiter's email address. Let's look. So if Mary Miller is a recruiter with IBM, this is the email address she would use, mary.miller@ibm.com or mmiller@ibm.com. IBM is a huge company. They would never, ever use something like marymilleribm@gmail.com or ibmrecruiting@yahoo.com. That's just no, they wouldn't do it. All reputable companies, and especially the larger the companies are, always have their domain as their email address. Now, it can happen, for example, with small nonprofit organizations or small local companies. Sometimes they do have a Gmail address and it is legitimate. Again, your research skills come to play there. If you see a Gmail address, research it. Call them and find out if it's legitimate. Any larger company will never, ever have a recruiter email at Gmail or at yahoo.com. More red flags. Upfront fees. Do not pay any upfront fees for training or for background checks unless you have verified it is legitimate. There are certain situations where upfront fees actually are legitimate. For example, in East Baton Rouge Parish, the school system, if you want to apply to be a substitute teacher, you will have to pay for your own background check upfront. Or there are also some work-at-home companies that do work-at-home call center work. There are one or two that actually ask for an upfront fee, and they are legitimate. But it is very, very rare, and they're easy to verify. Those work-at-home call centers, they have a large presence on Glassdoor.com. You can go, you can type in those company names on Glassdoor, and it will come up. Yeah, they charge an upfront fee, but hey, because of that, they give you great training or they give you great equipment, and you will see it's legitimate. Another red flag, quick job offer. We briefly touched on this already. It is very, very, very rare that a job is offered to you without an interview. So if that happens, if somebody just comes across with a job offer, boy, be careful. Have all your alarm bells ringing. Or they want to interview you through instant message or text message. Again, that is unprofessional. Good companies just don't do that. Let's look at some real-life scams that we have encountered here at the Career Center. So the next one is one of the famous check cashing scams, and an actual client of ours brought this letter to us. So this is the original wording. The highlighting was done by me to point out certain things. So if you look at it, greetings, it's HR manager from MHM Transport related to a position. Our company, MHM Transport Industry, reviewed your application on the job search websites. Wait, on what website? On the job search websites? No. If this was real, they would say, we found your application on Indeed.com or on ZipRecruiter.com. So there's an indication. Then going on, and after reviewing it, our personnel specialists are ready to offer you to consider job opportunities. Wait, what? What did we talk about? Horrible grammar? Here it is. I can't even count the mistakes in this part of the sentence. So that should definitely trip you off. Then again, our personnel specialists are ready to offer you job opportunities. What did we just talk about? Immediate job offers, no interviews, it's right there. So these letters actually do go out. So our client actually engaged with them, but then she came to us to show it to us. Then the next red sentence, I as HR manager guarantee official employment. If any HR managers is watching this, right now all their hairs will stand up. No HR manager can ever guarantee you employment. That is not the way it works, or that is never the way they would word it. Then flexible schedule, good benefits, and so on. If it sounds too good to be true, right, it is. And then if you really would like to get further information pertaining to this employment opportunity, please answer to the email of mine. To the email of mine, again, really quirky English. No American HR office would send a letter like this. But then my favorite part of this, look at the end, from the bottom of my heart. No business letter will contain the line from the bottom of my heart. So there are so many red flags in here that should set off your alarm bells, right? And let's see where this leads, where this went further. So here's the job description. Now, MHM Logistics is a real company. I looked them up. They exist, and as it says here, they exist in Austria. Now, poor MHM Logistics probably has absolutely no clue that some scammer took their company name and is using it. So if you were to look up the company, you would find it's legit. However, what they're doing and the job that's offered already don't line up. So there you can see it's probably not legit. But now when you see the description of what you're asked to do, you will see this is a pure check cashing scam. So the process of getting and handling payments from our clients in the form of checks is as follows. And the rest we don't even need to go through. I think you've heard on it on many news stories how people have fallen for it. You cash their check, you're out the money, or you buy gift cards or whatever, send it back to them, and by the time their check bounces, your money is gone and their check is canceled, whatever, you're out the money. That's the gist of it. So just know, you were warned in the first letter to not even go as far as receiving this piece. Here's another real-life scam that happened last year in Baton Rouge, where Zander Communications, a very prominent communications agency in town, somebody pretty much stole their name and put out job ads in their name. And again, Zander didn't know that happened until somebody alerted them. So this was a note in the Baton Rouge Business Report about this. And again, you can see many of the red flags that we just talked about. So what this fake Zander job was advertising is entry-level applicants, graphic designers, so that was a fit because the communication agency would work with graphic designers, for $40 an hour for home-based part-time work. Really? Entry-level, home-based, part-time, $40? Very, very unlikely. If it sounds too good to be true, it is. The same here. Then the company communicated from a Gmail account. What did we just learn? Very, very unlikely. That should have set people off. And then the ad promised to send any new hires a $6,000 check. Wouldn't that be nice, right? We would all like that. Now, there is something called a sign-on bonus. That's very common, oftentimes in nursing and other hard-to-fill jobs. Graphic design usually does not belong to that group, and it wouldn't be advertised quite like that. They would say sign-on bonus, but they really wouldn't go into the exact amount and everything yet. So like we just said about, the red flags were there. So the people who fell for it with a little bit of thinking, with a little bit of common sense, that could have been prevented. Now, sometimes it's not as easy to see, is it a scam, is not. It takes a little bit legwork on your part. So let's look at this next one. Again, this is from Indeed.com. This is Quantum Laboratories in Baton Rouge looking for a lab services assistant. If you read through it, it reads like a medical lab. So you watch this seminar, you go and you Google Quantum Laboratories. Let's see what we find. This is what comes up as the first entry in Google, Quantum Laboratories. So you read through it and you're like, this is an environmental lab. The ad was for a medical lab. And if you were to go further, you would also see this is not in Baton Rouge. Now, does this necessarily mean that ad for the medical lab was a scam? Maybe not, because this was a small lab. Next step, you go to Google Maps. You put into Google Maps Quantum Laboratories, Baton Rouge, and see what pops up. On Sherwood Forest Boulevard, there it shows a Quantum Laboratories. What do you do now? If you're really interested, you pick up the phone, there's a phone number right there and call, or you drive by and take a look. So that way, even when at first it doesn't seem clear, is this real or not, you just have to take it a step further and you can find out. Other common scams. Legitimate online applications normally do not ask if you're a homeowner. That is none of their business. Ask you to rate your credit history. Now, many will run a credit check on you as part of pre-employment background checks, but that is something completely different. Asking you to rate your own credit history, that is not part of the process. You know what they're doing, right? They're trying to figure out if you're a good target for their scam. If you rate your own credit history, yeah, it's 800 plus. There's like, oh, good, we have a good one here. Try to sell your credit report or any other product. Again, that is not part of online applications. They should not sell you this. So that was our presentation for today. I hope you learned a lot about how to avoid being scammed in your online job search. If you want any more information or talk to us about this, here's our contact information. You can give us a call or contact us through our website. If you liked our video, give us a thumbs up or subscribe to our channel. Thanks. Until next time.